Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. In today's video, we're going to be discussing, you guessed it, Harry Potter theories. However, they're not my own theories, they're theories that have been floating around the internet for many years. And what do all of these theories have in common? Well, all of them were actually confirmed to be true years later, either through JK Rowling or through Pottermore. Some of them might be obvious to you now, but at one point, a lot less was known about the wizarding world, and it's only through extended lore that we've been able to find definitive proof to support our theories. I make a lot of theories of my own, so I can only hope that my own theories are confirmed one day. Anyway, without further ado, here are 10 Harry Potter fan theories that actually turned out to be true. 1. Harry's children's names. In the epilogue, we see Harry sending his children off to Hogwarts in a familiar scene at Platform 9 3/4. At this stage of Harry and Ginny's relationship, they now have 3 children, James Sirius, Lily Luna, and Albus Severus. However, what stuck out to some fans were the choices that Harry had made for his children's names. He named his kids after people that were important to him, but there was a distinct absence of names of other notable figures in Harry's life. People like Arthur, Hagrid, and, most related to this theory, Remus. The theory on the internet was that Harry didn't name his son after Remus because he thought that Teddy Lupin, Remus's son, might like to use the name for his own kids down the line. It turns out this was exactly right, and was actually confirmed by Rowling on Twitter. 2. Dudley Dursley. Dudley Dursley was the bane of Harry's existence, tormenting him for a large portion of his childhood, even when he would return home to Little Whinging solely for the summer holidays. However, on one visit in the summer of 1995, Dudley would have quite a wake-up call. After bullying Harry with his group of friends, the pair began walking home, and it's at this stage that they're brutally attacked by Dementors. Dudley is of course a target of the attack, and afterwards the book poses the following. Dementors caused a person to relive the worst moments of their life. What would spoiled, pampered, bullying Dudley have been forced to hear? This caused much speculation among fans, but the prevailing theory actually ended up being the right one, as it was confirmed in an interview with Rowling in 2004. My feeling is that he saw himself exactly for what he was, and for a boy that spoiled, it would be terrifying. 3. Magical schools. Hogwarts is the most famous wizarding school in the Harry Potter story. I don't think you could argue that. It's the school with the sorting hat, the Hogwarts Express, and the Whomping Willow. However, JK Rowling at one point revealed to fans that other schools existed in the wizarding world, with fans immediately jumping to all kinds of conclusions about where these other schools might be. Just before the release of the Fantastic Beasts film, Rowling took to Pottermore to reveal that there are 11 unique schools for witchcraft and wizardry across the world. These schools include Ilvermorny, North America, Koldovstorets, Russia, Mahutukoro, Japan, Beauxbatons, France, Hogwarts, UK, Castelobruchu, South America, Durmstrang, Eastern Europe, and Ugadu, Africa, as well as a few others that have yet to be named. 4. Hermione's Amortentia encounter. In The Half-Blood Prince, Horace Slughorn takes over as Potions Master, and it's not long after he accepts the position that he begins to expose students to all sorts of powerful potions. The potion in question here, however, is Amortentia. Amortentia is the most powerful love potion in the world. It is distinctive for its mother-of-pearl sheen, and steam rises from the potion in spirals. Amortentia smells different to each person, according to what attracts them. In The Half-Blood Prince, Hermione herself takes a whiff of the Amortentia, smelling freshly mown grass, new parchment, and one last thing which wasn't explicitly stated. Fans, however, strongly theorized that the missing smell, the one that Hermione wouldn't reveal, was in fact the smell of Ron Weasley's hair. This turned out to be true, and the reason it wasn't revealed was because it would have spoiled the build-up of their mutual attraction. 5. The Death Eaters are based on the Nazis. Blood status is one of the most controversial aspects of the wizarding world, a concept in which wizarding families can be distinguished by the level of magically endowed family members Generally speaking, people are slotted into one of the following categories: pureblood, half-blood, or muggle, and the different classifications of blood purity in the wizarding world actually act in a very similar fashion to race in the real world, which obviously leaves the door open for things like prejudice. For this reason, many fans were quick to recognize similarities between Voldemort and the Death Eaters, with a certain German leader and his own followers. These similarities, as it turned out, were not an accident, as the depressingly realistic depiction of comparable regimes was later confirmed by Rowling. I wanted Harry to leave our world and find exactly the same problems in the wizarding world. So you have the intent to impose a hierarchy, you have bigotry, and this notion of purity, which is this great fallacy, but it crops up all over the world. People like to think themselves superior, and that if they can pride themselves in nothing else, they can pride themselves on perceived purity. So yeah, that follows a parallel to Nazism. 6. The baby in limbo. When Harry travels to the Forbidden Forest in the Deathly Hallows, it's not long before he's struck down by Voldemort. The next thing we know, Harry's beginning to regain consciousness, and from here, he quickly realizes that he's no longer in the Forbidden Forest. In fact, entirely disoriented, he didn't know where he was. All he knew was that it was unlike any other place that he had been before. This place, as it turned out, was a sort of limbo. One of the most interesting aspects of Harry's visit to limbo was the ominous presence of a sort of baby, I use that term loosely, lying on the ground. It's never actually explained properly what this thing was, which obviously caused fans to speculate and theorize. The prevailing theory was that this thing was Voldemort, and fans turned out to be correct. I've been asked this a lot. It is the last piece of soul Voldemort possesses. When Voldemort attacks Harry, they both fall temporarily unconscious, and both their souls, Harry's undamaged and healthy, Voldemort's stunted and maimed, appear in the limbo where Harry meets Dumbledore. 7. Flying without a broom. In the wizarding world, we're basically taught to believe that flight is only capable with the use of a broomstick. However, in the 7th book, fans were thrown off, as Voldemort was suddenly described as being able to fly through the sky. This caused many fans to speculate and theorize as to why and how this was possible. The prevailing theory was that using a broom is just like using a wand, not always entirely necessary. As we know, using a wand allows a witch or wizard to channel their magic. However, if the witch or wizard is powerful enough, they don't always have a need for a wand. This is called wandless magic. I can only imagine that flying follows the same principles, with most witches, wizards requiring a broom to channel flight. JK Rowling later states that all wizards have the power of flight innately, but that the vast majority need a broom to achieve it. 8. Voldemort made even more Horcruxes than we knew of. A Horcrux is an object in which a dark witch or wizard has imbued part of their soul. The ultimate purpose of creating a Horcrux is to achieve immortality. There are only 2 known wizards who have created a Horcrux, the first being Herpo the Foul, and the second being Voldemort, who produced numerous. Voldemort is widely known to have created 7 Horcruxes: Tom Riddle's Diary, Marvolo Gaunt's Ring, Salazar Slytherin's Locket, Helga Hufflepuff's Cup, Rowena Ravenclaw's Diadem, Nagini, and lastly, Harry Potter. However, what many fans have speculated over the years is that Voldemort made even more Horcruxes than we, and Dumbledore, were aware of. This theory was later confirmed on Pottermore, where it was revealed that Professor Quirrell was in fact a temporary Horcrux, and that Voldemort's presence in his body was corrupting him from the inside out. 9. Magic is genetic. Very little is revealed in the Harry Potter story about the origins of magic. It's an enigmatic present that seems to sort of choose some and not others. However, despite the lack of information on the topic, fans began to theorize what makes someone magical. Could it be genetic? As it turns out, that's actually true, and it was confirmed by Rowling. People who can practice magic have a magical gene. However, that certainly doesn't mean that the magical gene is restricted to those who already have it in their bloodline, as it can suddenly appear in both squibs and muggles. 10. The cost of Hogwarts. For centuries, the children of the magical world have been receiving their Hogwarts acceptance letters. The moment they come of age, they can expect a letter at their door, and the letter is symbolic in that it represents a new chapter in their lives. This letter, in essence, means that they will be able to attend Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the world's finest wizarding school. However, after the series ended, many fans were still scratching their heads and wondering, how much does Hogwarts cost? There were many fan theories about this, ranging from scholarships to secret donors, but one of the prevailing theories was that the school was in fact free. This theory, as it turns out, was later confirmed by Rowling, who tweeted the following: "There's no tuition fee. The Ministry of Magic covers the cost of all magical education." And that's it for this video. Were you guys in agreement with these theories before they were eventually confirmed through Twitter and Pottermore? Comment down below. Also, if you guys are interested, I've been posting a fair bit on my mythology channel, link in the description. Until next time, remember, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light.